Good morning, colleagues and grade 11s. I am Mr. Liu, Subject Advisor of Accounting from Harib District. Today we are going to do a session on bank reconciliation statement. This will be our last presentation on the bank reconciliation for grade 11 this term. Remember, grade 11s, you are doing bank reconciliation this term. So we are just addressing and making you aware of some changes, especially in the cash payment journal and the cash receipt journal. A lot of changes in terms of accounting, in terms of the CPJ, in terms of the CRJ that you have learned in grade 10, because there are changes in terms of checks as well as EFTs. We are no longer using checks in accounting, as our banks and the reserve banks have done away with checks. So we are moving now in accounting, and we have introduced EFTs. So we are not EFTs. So we have done this is the third one. We have done 2 presentations of about 3 hours before this one. So today is the 4th one almost. We have done 4 sessions on the BRS so that we make sure as a province that you understand exactly what is expected. So how to deal with differences when reconciling, we have done a lot of notes. If you follow the link and then you follow all the presentations from presentation number 1 that we have done up to today, you'll definitely have an idea of what you're supposed to do when you connect it and you do your homework and your class activities with your teacher, and then you'll understand more. So the first one we talk about now, how to deal with differences when reconciling. Remember, we talk about the bank reconciliation statement. So item number 1, when we talk about bank charges, we said they will only appear in the bank statement and they do not appear in the CPJ. Remember, we said the bank charges will only be on the bank statement. You are not going to be aware of the bank charges as a business, so that you can record them in the CPJ, because they are not paid in cash by the business. So it means they will be deducted from the bank. Then when we get the bank statement, we'll see an idea. That is when we'll have an idea of how much has been debited from our account in terms of bank charges. We also talked about in bank charges, we said that there are smaller items that are referred to as bank charges: service fees, cash handling fee, EFT fees, and so on. We also mentioned to say you add all of them and you record as one amount in the CPJ. So the bank charges will only appear in the bank statement and not in the cash payment journal. Where are we going to record such transactions? We are going to record them in the CPJ. With interest on overdraft, we take it as interest expense to the business. We are not going to have an idea or to know about the interest is how much has been withdrawn from our account or charged on our account in terms of interest on overdraft, if we have interest on overdraft. So it will appear on the bank statement, it won't appear on the CPJ. Where are we supposed to record it? We're supposed to record it in the CPJ. With stop order and debit orders, they will only appear on the bank statement and not on the CPJ. Where are we supposed to record them? In the CPJ. Remember, with stop order and debit order, we made an example. When you have a vehicle, we have a car, you're supposed to pay insurance on that particular car. You just agree with the company, the insurance company, to withdraw the money directly from your bank account. You are not going to be able to see that beforehand, but after receiving a bank statement, you'll see a debit order. So a debit order will appear on the bank statement only and not on our cash payment journal. Where are we supposed to record it? In our cash payment journal. The outstanding EFTs, remember we are talking about EFTs now, we are talking about electronic fund transfers. If we do them, they will appear on the CPJ. If you transfer, you pay and everything, they will appear on the bank's cash payment journal. They does not appear on the bank statement. It says bank reconciliation. Use the information from Benny Traders below to complete the following. we're supposed to do the cash receipt journal and the cash payment journal for 24 marks. We're supposed to prepare the bank account for 6 marks, and we're supposed to prepare a bank reconciliation statement for June 2020. The bank account shows a favorable or debit balance on 1st June 2020 of 1,450. Remember, the bank account on the first day of the month will be in the bank account, but we need to make sure that a favorable balance is a debit balance on the bank account and an unfavorable balance is a credit balance on the bank account. So we need to make sure that we know the difference between the two. The second one, the bank statement shows an overdrawn, which is a debit balance. So an unfavorable balance according to bank statement, it's a debit balance, but a favorable balance according to bank statement will be a credit balance. So we need to make sure about that. An unfavorable balance is the same as bank overdraft. So bank overdraft on the bank statement, it will be a debit balance, but a bank overdraft on the bank account will be a credit balance. So the balance is 12,881 on 30 May 2020, which is the end of the year. The following totals appeared in the bank column of the CRJ. We have 25,600. The CPJ, we have 34,895. Information C, comparison with the bank statement for June 2020 received from BC Bank Cash Receipt Journal, Cash Payment Journal for June, as well as the bank reconciliation statement for May 2020. Remember, May 2020 is the previous month, revealed the following differences. The following information did not reflect in the cash journals for June 2020. So a direct deposit, a deposit from A.R. Henry, 1,800 for her monthly rent. The following debit orders, 1,580 for water and electricity. We are paying town council. We are paying Demi Insurance, 1,650 for insurance. We are also paying BC Bank for 4,180, for 3,800 on the payment of loan, as well as 380 on interest on loan. EFT fees for 46 rand, service fees 89, interest on overdraft 144, a deposit from a debtor as Sizwe for 1,637 in settlement of his account, and EFT for 3,600 was reflected on the business bank statement. This payment does not relate to the business and must be corrected by the bank. So transactions on BC Bank, there are a lot of them. The first one is that one of the loan and the interest. The second one is the bank charges, which is the EFT fees and service fees. We have also the interest on overdraft. We have the amount that was deposited by a debtor. We also have the amount, the EFT that was reflected on our statement, but it does not belong to us. It says there, this payment does not relate to the business and must be corrected by the bank. It means the bank made a mistake of such entry. Information D, the following information in the June 2020 cash journals did not appear on the bank statement for June 2020. So this information, they appear only on the CRJ and the CPJ, but did not appear on the bank statement. Remember, we're supposed to record them in the bank reconciliation statement. Outstanding deposit 6,784, EFT number 504 for 2,800 to cause traders for equipment purchased. We bought the equipment using the EFT number 504. We use EFT 506 for 3,100 to Vellum stores for stationery purchased. But remember, these transactions appeared only in our journals and not in the bank statement. EFT 507 for 3,700 to Rory vehicle services for repairs on the delivery van. It appears only on our journals but not on the bank statement. Transaction E, it says balance according to the bank statement on 30 June 2020 it's a question mark. So we're supposed to calculate that figure. So let's check. Remember, we'll have our CRJ and CPJ, the answer sheet. So it will be very easy to record the transaction. Remember, under cash receipt journal, we need all the transactions or the cash received in terms of incomes of the business. So if we go back, you'll remember a direct deposit, a monthly rent from our tenant of 1,800. So we received under details, you write the name of the person, A. Andre, the bank 1,800, and the amount is 1,800 for rent income. Remember, we also received a direct deposit from our debtor FS-IBP of 1,637. We write 1,637 under bank and under amounts, and under details we write debtors control, because FS-IBP is our debtor that is paying us. So we have only the two entries that were supposed to be on the CRJ, but they are not on the CRJ, they are only on the bank statement. Because of those two reasons, a tenant deposited the amount directly into our bank account. We are not going to be aware of such deposit so that we can record in the CRJ. We'll only be aware of such deposit after receiving a bank statement. As a result, the transaction will only appear on the bank statement and not in our cash receipt journal. Therefore, we're supposed to record it in the cash receipt journal. The same as FS-IBP, because it's a debtor, we are receiving the money from a debtor, is transferring the amount directly into our bank account. We are not going to be able to see that transaction unless or after we receive a bank statement. So we'll add everything there in total. So here you have the total to add everything there to get our total CRJ of 29,037. Next one, our CPJ. Remember, we paid a total cancel, but learners, remember, every time you start, you will have the opening totals from the previous journals. So in most cases, they will be there on the answer sheet, but if you are using a textbook, you'll be given a full CRJ and a full CPJ. When you start with your supplementary journals, you're supposed to start by recording all those totals as given from your CRJ and the CPJ. And we only record entries that appear on the bank statement and not in the CPJ. Town council, that's why under document number, we have BS to show that that information comes from the bank statement. Town council, we paid 1,580 for water and electricity. It appears only on the bank statement but not in the CPJ. We are going to record it in the CPJ. Demi insurance 1,650. We paid insurance. We are not aware of that because we didn't go to the company and pay cash. We arranged with the bank in terms of debit order or stop order. So the amount was deducted directly from our bank account. So 1,650 under bank, 1,650 under sundry accounts, and then we write insurance. BC Bank, the 4,180, remember, we paid 4,180 with EFT, so it appears only on the bank statement because it was deducted directly from our bank account. It will be 3,800 for the loan and 380 for interest on loan or interest expense. Now, what is also important with this one, the last one, BC Bank, the bank charges 135. We're supposed to make sure that when you check the transaction there, 46 plus 89, we're supposed to add both of them, the EFT fees as well as service fees, as well as if we can have a cash handling fee, we add all of them. Those are the small items that I was talking about, that bank charges might not be given as the word bank charges, but small items that make up bank charges. But when we record, we're supposed to add all of them. So if you add the two, they will give you 135 of bank charges, but we record the interest on overdraft separate as an independent entry. So 144 is for interest on overdraft, and 135 is for bank charges. So 279 is the total that was deducted for both bank charges and interest on overdraft. Remember, all these entries that appear in the CPJ, they appear on our bank statement but did not appear on the cash journals, which is the CPJ. Therefore, we are recording them in our cash payment journal. When you do your total of the bank column, don't forget to add the opening balance that was given, or the opening totals, 58,500 plus 1,580 plus 1,650 plus 4,180 and plus 279. It will give us 42,584. Our bank account, remember when we started, they said we are having a debit balance according to bank account. It will be on the debit side. It might also be on the credit side. You must be aware of that. When you prepare a bank account, the opening balance, which is the balance brought down, is not always on the debit side. If it's favorable, it's a debit balance. If it's unfavorable, it's a credit balance. So in this case, it's a favorable balance according to bank account. It will be on the debit side, 1,450, and then we transfer total from the cash receipt journal. Then we write sundry accounts or total receipts, 29,037. And then on the other side, which is the credit side, we write sundry accounts or the total payments from the CPJ, 42,584. Then we balance. We can see our credit side is more than debit side. So we have the total of 42 on the credit side. We subtract 1,450. We subtract 29,037. And we have the closing balance under debit of 12,097. And then it will be the opening balance, which is a credit balance for July the 1st, which is the following month. So when we start with our bank reconciliation, I said you must know the structure of the bank reconciliation. Under debit, we don't have the amount now, the balance according to bank statement. Remember the balance that was given, it was the opening balance. But we are referring to information E that says the opening balance is question mark, so we're supposed to calculate it. So you must remember that the opening balance, the balance according to bank statement that we are looking for here, is as at the end of that month, not the beginning. So balance according to bank statement, it won't be known at that time. Outstanding deposit, we have 6,784. And then EFT 504, 506 and 507, 2,800, 3,100 and 3,700 is given. A credit amount wrongly debited. Remember when we go back to that 3,600 on the transaction, we said this EFT, and EFT for 3,600 was reflected on the bank statement. This payment, remember, if we pay, then it means the money will be withdrawn from our bank account and bank will debit our account. But here they say this payment does not relate to the business. As a result, it means bank debited our account by mistake. So it's supposed to be credited. That's why there you have a credit amount wrongly debited. So if it's debited by mistake, we credit. If it was credited by mistake, we debit to correct the error. Balance according to bank account is the balance from the bank account, the balance carried forward that we have calculated, the 12,097. There we are having it there, 12,097, and then our credit column will be more than debit. So we'll add our credit column, 6,784 plus 3,600 plus 12,097. It will give us 22,481, and then debit and credit must be the same. If we take 22,481 minus 3,700 minus 3,100 and minus 2,800, it will give us a closing balance in terms of bank statement, balance according to bank statement of 12,881. So that is the end of our session today. It's very important that when you go back, you check all the video that we have sent to you via your teachers, and you check the bank reconciliation statement. This is an easy topic in grade 11, and it goes also to grade 12. So the grade 11s who are doing bank reconciliation this year, you must pay more attention to your teachers and understand exactly what to do, because next year in grade 12 you are going to do a bank reconciliation statement. We were only bringing the difference of such a statement. So even the grade 12s, they must be aware of next term when they are going to do the bank reconciliation, they will be faced with these changes in terms of checks and EFT. So grade 11s, you are doing bank reconciliation, you got the explanation in terms of EFTs and checks. So if you use past question papers, you must always remember that the old papers will still use checks up to the last day of December 2020, but from the first day of January 2021, we are not longer using checks. So every time you take past question papers, make sure that you update the activities, make sure that you remember every time that we are no longer talking about checks, but we are now talking about EFTs. So past question papers up to last year, June 2020, December 2020, they might be using checks like before, but we are not having checks anymore. So make sure that you understand the difference between the checks and the EFT, and how are we using the checks now in our accounting nowadays. Especially also in grade 10, we are no longer using checks in the CPJ and the CRJ, we are talking about EFT. So the presentation of the 3 sessions basically was on to make sure that you understand the changes as a learner in grade 11. The grade 12s are also free to watch this video clip also, or this lesson, to make sure that they are also updated in terms of bank reconciliation statement. So thank you very much, and we wish you all of the best this year in grade 11 to make sure that you understand this topic, and next year you'll be in grade 12 and you'll master it. Thank you very much. Bye.